All right, guys, I'm out of the border. It was relatively hassle-free. I pretty much the only thing I had to do is just pay taxes on it. They asked me a couple of questions about the car. They ended up valuing the car about 2.5 times more than what I paid. But the taxes were still so low. I mean, it was like negligible, I swear. You know, 3 tankfuls of gas in Canada, and it's, you know, would make the difference, right? So it's not a huge deal. They just basically couldn't tell what the car's worth because of the car didn't really sell in the US, so they kind of went around various sites, and they found one in Germany, and they kind of priced it about the same price as the one in Germany. Didn't really want to argue with the guy, you know, so, and it wasn't really worth arguing with, so it's fine. Very grateful that the process was very easy, and I'm out. The only thing that you need to make sure if you're thinking about importing a car from Canada is just, you know, make sure that the car's clean the underside of the car and everything else like that, because obviously they don't like foreign soil entering the country. It's same, you know, even if you have dirty shoes, it's same thing applies. So make sure that you give the car a good wash. Make sure that you have all your paperwork all together. You need what I think it's called an ICBC form. If you're doing a transfer from British Columbia, you need the bottom part of the piece of paper that represents the title. They don't really do a title, but they do a form. You need that bottom part of the form. You need the bill of sale, and you just need to make sure that you have temporary tags put on, which I have on the back, and insurance and everything else like that, even though they didn't really ask me for that, but I've been told that that's good to have. Didn't have to fill in a 3502, didn't have to fill in a 7501 or something like that. The only thing I had to fill in is that HS7, which they filled in for me. I checked with the state of Texas, and that's all they really need. And they gave me back all the paperwork that I needed. So make sure you get all your paperwork back, because at least with the state of Texas, you do need your title to get another title. Otherwise, you can register the car, but they won't issue a title. When I get to Texas and I do the paperwork, I'm going to have to take the car, take it in for a safety inspection, make sure that that's been done, and then I think it's, you know, good to go at that point, and we should be golden. If you get any of it wrong, you have to go to another port of entry and get it figured out. So I don't know what that means by another port of entry, whether you have to go to a border or can you go to the customs department at an airport. I have no idea, but that's the only option. So hopefully, you know, you got to make sure that your stuff is right before you go there, so that you don't have any hassle. So that's really it. Now I'm driving it back. Let me give you this assessment on this car. So first of all, I really like this car. It's a very different car to drive compared to my XJ81, my XJ40 body style, the 6-litre car, XJ12. This car mechanically isn't as nice as the other car. The other car mechanically is actually pretty sound. You know, AC works. I haven't even tried the AC right now because I'm kind of worried about, you know, maybe running the battery flat, maybe causing the car to run hot, anything else like that. I don't want to deal with any kind of stuff before I get to Texas. I want to deal with the stuff when I get to Texas, when I'm close to my shop, when I'm close to my lift, you know, and I can deal with those kind of situations when I have my tools around me. So the AC is turned off. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work, but it's turned off. The oil pressure on this car is really, really low when the car warms up. It's running 5W30 oil. It's a little bit concerning. You know, I'm running at like 15 PSI or 15 bar. I'm not sure exactly what the reading is. It's basically at the number 2 level on the gauge. While I'm going down the road doing 100 kilometers an hour, like 60 miles an hour. The fuel gauge reads whatever the hell it likes to read. That's kind of the way it is. And you know, everything else seems to work fine, right? The voltage gauge works, the the water temperature gauge works, the accelerating pedal works, the speedometer works, the rev counter works, everything else works. I need to get a code for the radio. The radio, if I turn it on, all it does is it raises a siren, you know, sets off an alarm, just flashes code, and I need to get that figured out. I tried calling the Jaguar dealer. I tried calling 3 Jaguar dealers, to be honest with you. None of them could help me. I tried calling one in Vancouver. They said that I need to bring the car in and pay some kind of service fee for them to unlock the code, which is ridiculous. I called one in California. They said that they will call me back, and they haven't. And I called one in Dallas, and he told me that he just can't get the number, which I think is the most honest answer. It's like, I can't get the code, it's fine, you know. So I'm hoping that somebody else can help me. You know, with Mercedes, there's a website that you can go to where if you enter the serial number of the radio, it will tell you what the code is. Maybe there's something like that for the Jaguar. If there is, and you guys know about it, please let me know, because I kind of like the fact that this car's got the factory radio in it. It keeps the originality of the car, which is wonderful. Compared to my XJ40, this car drives a lot nicer. Compared to my XJ94, XJ12, the XJ1, this car is a lot more of a subtle ride, you know. The engine's definitely a little bit quieter. You know, you can hear the engine in the 6-litre car. You can hear that 6-litre engine. You can't hear this engine when you're going down the road. And it's just a very traditional driving car. It feels like, you know, it was built in the 60s, not in the 90s. And to be honest with you, the XJ81, the 94 XJ12 feels like it was built in the 70s as well. It also feels like a very almost like a hand-built car. So you know, that's a very cool thing about it. It's got 2 sets of keys, one for the door, one for the ignition switch. Fuel computer doesn't work worth a crap, which, you know, is fine. It would help if it had the fuel gauge working, but there you go. I just need to make sure that I fill up every 100 miles or so. What else? Brakes. The brakes work great. They work fine. They stop the car. But the front discs are a little bit, you know, warped. So definitely need to get that looked at. Of course, I need to get the rear discs looked at because they're inboard and nobody ever changes them. The suspension has a little bit of a vibration in it, probably ball joints, control arms, something like that. We'll get that addressed. As long as it makes it to Tacoma and gets on the truck, I can figure it out when I get to Texas. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. You know, it's fine. It worked out very well. The trip's been an adventure. You know, I've always been kind of wanted one of these cars because they're a little bit special here in the US. You know, if you don't know the history about this XJ12, especially 90 era cars, when Jaguar was designing the XJ40 body style, which was supposed to replace the XJ Series 1, 2, and 3 that started in 1968 and ran till 1987 in 6-cylinder form. They were owned by British Leyland at the time, and British Leyland wanted to use the Rover V8, which is the small 3.5 litre Buick 215 aluminum V8. And Jaguar engineers weren't having any of it, so they designed that car deliberately to not accept a V configuration engine. Right? The way that they designed it, it wouldn't take a V engine. So they had to design and develop their own 6-cylinder engine, and that's what they did. Because there was still a demand for the XJ V12, you know, for a V12 powered car. And now, you know, BMW very shortly after Jaguar introduced the XJ40, introduced the 750iL, and then Mercedes in 1991 introduced the S600, the 600 SEL as it was called back then. Jaguar continued to run this XK body style, the Series 1, 2, and 3, the Series 3 form, for another 5 years. They ran it from 1987. They continued, even though they were producing the XJ40, they kept on selling the V12 version alongside it from 1987 on to 1992. And then eventually Jaguar was purchased by Ford, and Ford reconfigured the XJ40 body style to accept the 6-litre V12 engine with the 4L80E transmission, and the XJ81, which is the 93 and 94 model year XJ12, was born. So this is why this car is special. Now in the US, they never brought this car into this country, right? They sold the 6-cylinder cars. Let me roll that back. So in the US, they did sell the XJ12 in Series 3 form, like in 1979, maybe 1980 model year, but then they stopped selling them over here. And they just kept on selling the 6-cylinder cars until 1987, and then they sold the XJ40 body style from 87 onwards. And then they finally reintroduced the V12 in 93. And, you know, that's how I got my XJ81. So that's pretty much all he had in the US. But in Canada, they kept on selling these cars, and this is why I bought this one. So that's pretty much it. So I'm now driving up. I should be in Tacoma in about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. And hopefully as soon as I get there, I can book a truck and it'll get picked up, and I can get it shipped. That's going to be the next challenge. I'm only here till Friday, so I need to make sure I can get a truck arranged for this car before I leave. Otherwise, I'm SOL again. So we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, thanks very much, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. It's certainly been an adventure for me, and I hope it helps you guys if any of you are considering importing a car into the US. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye bye.